Okay, so I've had to move some stuff around since the last video. This used to be my shop, now it's my office, quote unquote. So I'll be filming in here for these videos on this channel, and I'll be filming outside in my other work area for the other channels. Okay, now you might hear dogs in the background because this is an open, the shutters are open so that the breeze can come through here. You might hear some dogs in the background. I apologize for that. Also, since the breeze can come through here, and since I've got the ring light actually suspended from the ceiling, it might start swaying. So if that happens, you know why. Okay. I don't have much room here in front of me. That's why I've got it suspended from the ceiling. It's kind of a strange setup. All right. So this video is about this book, but I finished it, right? But I still don't know how I'm going to present it or criticize it. Okay. Still haven't figured that one out. I was making a video earlier on the book, and it just gets too clumsy trying to show you pictures. There's a lot of glare and stuff. And I might have to write down a narrative to get into this book. And I apologize for you guys who have been waiting for this review. Okay. But I did finish it. I did go through it. I've got a lot of notes, a lot of tabs on the side here for a quick reference. If you have not purchased the book yet and you want a how-to, a very in-depth how-to on napping, don't get it. If you want an introductory book that hits on many, many topics and gives you a brief description of these topics, then yeah, go ahead and get the book. You can tell that he's done a lot of, John Whittaker's done a lot of experimental archaeology. You can tell he's used stone tools, he's done a lot of napping. So there is a lot of information in here, but it's basic. It's just skimming the surface, okay? So that's how I would rate the entire book. It's introductory and basic, okay? And if that's the type of book you're looking for, then I would buy it. But otherwise, if you're looking for an in-depth process, as far as many different things, subtleties and variations in the flint knapping style, or troubleshooting your flint knapping, it's not the book to get. You're much better off looking at videos or interacting with a video maker to get your questions answered, okay, than to get a book like this. Okay, so I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to present all the concepts in this book and my criticisms and stuff. Since it's so varied, it has such a lot of different topics, it's going to be a long video to review it. I mean, it's got stuff from the Grasshopper Pueblo in here too, and I was going to do a series on that. I think I did a series, kind of, sort of, on the Grasshopper Pueblo and the artifacts in that site. Okay, I got that idea from this book because I was going to use this book as some of my reference material, but I don't think I finished that series. All right, but it does have that in here. It's got his experimental archaeology related to that site in here. Again, it's basic. It's not really in-depth. He's got, let's see, his method of going from, spall to preform or stage one to finished point or tool. Okay, he's got his stages detailed in here. One thing I didn't find in here is a comparison to modern cutlery. Okay, flint knapping and archaeology has terminology for blades and cutting tools, but in our modern world we have cutlery with terminology of blades and cutting tools, and the two are not exactly the same. And I haven't figured out why, but as an example, let's see. I've got this little knife here, and what we call the stem in flint knapping is called a tang with a normal or a modern knife, okay? And the back of this blade is called a spine on a knife, okay? And then you have the blade itself, and then you have the edge of the blade, that's the part that's sharpened, okay? You have the belly of the edge right here. You got the point. I forget what this is called here, but you get the idea. With a stone blade, you have a stem, then you have the margins, you know, the outside, the point, the distal end and the proximal end. You got the cross section. I mean, it's a different feel to the description of stone tools compared to modern steel tools, okay? And I can't figure out why they did it that way. I wish they hadn't. I wish they would have been a more direct comparison. So I'm getting into a more direct comparison between stone and steel, and I'm going to be going over things like the edge of the stone tool is about a 32nd of an inch, and that's just arbitrary, right? But I had to pick some amount of, or some measurement to get into detailed analysis of how to sharpen an edge, how to work off an edge, how to work off a surface. If you're not exactly on the edge, if you're up higher, you're actually on the surface trying to nap flakes off. Can you nap off the very edge? Yes, you can. But in most cases, especially when you're starting, your tool is going to be resting a little higher than the actual edge. And like I said, it was like a 32nd of an inch or maybe 1 millimeter on something like this. Now, when it comes to smaller points, the edge is about half that size, or 1/64 of an inch. And can you create platforms, and can you nap long flakes off of an edge, or off an edge that small? Yes, you can, and I'll be getting into that. I might call it micro flaking. In the article I wrote, I mentioned something like that. And maybe I'll call it micro flaking when you're flaking the edge itself, or that small area where it's the cutting edge. All right. Now, in John Whittaker's book, he mentions a lot where you actually put your tool on the edge, but the placement of the tool varies so much, and the tools have different consistencies that you are going to sometimes be up on the surface when you strike, and sometimes you'll prepare a platform that is going to be larger than the actual edge or the actual cutting portion, okay? That sort of thing. So I want to get into a distinction between the cutting edge and the blade, and maybe the spine of the point, okay, and the tang. I don't think I'll start using the same terminology, but I want to be able to make a comparison to modern cutlery, okay, to get more into detail and more into the advanced techniques of how to create cutting tools with stone, and also go the comparison between scrapers and arrow points, lateral dart points, and knives, and that sort of thing, and try to create a consistent classification that I can use for all of them, okay, so that we're not going to get too confused when discussing how to create the different tools, okay? We're not going to get too confused on the parts that are similar between a stone knife and a steel knife, okay? All right, so I think that's it for this video. I do want to get into depth, greater into depth. I just haven't figured out exactly what the format I'm going to use. So please bear with me on that. I apologize. I still haven't fully reviewed this book, but it is coming. And I've also started reading Andrzejewski's books again. I read them a long time ago, and I didn't really understand them very much. They're kind of academic and dry. But I've got 2 books by Andrzejewski that I'll be reviewing as well. And once I figure that out, I think it'll go faster. I figure out how exactly I'm going to present the review. Okay.